Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Graz. I'm really excited about this video as I was accepted into the Zero City affiliate program, and because of that I was given a test set for the new Caduceus unit. So let's get into it. Okay guys, this is what we're going to be talking about today, the new Caduceus set. For those that don't know, Caduceus is the name of this symbol here, the stick with the snakes around it. Okay, so I'm going to read through the set abilities real quick. Once in a while, when an ally gets a debuff, Caduceus reduces the damage that ally takes by 10% for 5 seconds and increases that ally's health by 10% of his own, the Caduceus's own max health for 5 seconds. For me, that's not very impressive. It doesn't even remove the debuff, so I'm not going to be looking at any 2 out of 6 hybrids anywhere. The 4-piece, once in a while when an ally gets a debuff, Caduceus reduces the damage that ally takes by 20% for 5 seconds and increases that ally's health by 20% of his own health for 5 seconds. So we got a 10% up to 20% increase there. The second part of it for a 4 out of 6 set. When getting a debuff, Caduceus steals 10% of the health, physical defense and chemical defense from the enemy that cast that debuff for 10 seconds. Up to 5 effects. Also, Caduceus removes a random debuff from a random ally and restores that ally's health equal to 150% of his own physical defense. Triggers once per 2 seconds or less frequently. I'd be slightly more inclined to use a 4 out of 6 hybrid. But honestly, for me, I think the main feature of the set we'll get to in a little minute in the 6-6 build. So the first part is the same, we're up to 40% now. The second part goes from 10% to 25%, and then down here is 200%. But the really important part for me of the 6-6 Caduceus set is this. Every 1 second, Caduceus removes a random debuff from himself, increases his own max health by 15% for 10 seconds, and restores health in all allies equal to 15% of his own max health up to 10 effects. I'm going to look into that in a little bit more detail in just a moment. Bear with me for a minute because I'm going to talk about some nerdy game theory for a moment here. Something that we need to look at about Caduceus and distinguish it from other infantry units is whether it is an attack unit or a support unit. And that may sound really obvious and really dull, but it's going to be really important. So as you can read on the screen there, some examples of an attack infantry unit: Hitman, Headhunter, Tomahawk. Their primary goal is to do damage and to kill. Support infantry units, Peacekeeper, Leviathan, Templar, all have some kind of ability aimed at survivability. So in terms of Caduceus, it's definitely a support unit, no doubt about it. It doesn't have any kind of attack abilities. It's all about removing debuffs and adding health, increasing health, that sort of thing. Where this specifically matters to Caduceus is that I think it really has the ability to change the current metas within the game. I don't think you're going to throw your whole squad out and build something completely new for Caduceus, but I think give you the possibility that you won't need those hybrid chems. Possibly could replace Peacekeeper, although I haven't tested that, so I'm not sure. It's just thinking. I definitely think you won't ever need a Leviathan if you've got a Caduceus. Templar maybe, for sure. But we're also going to need to know what we're looking for when we're testing, and the tests I'm doing for Caduceus are much more specific than I did with Sanduke. So let's take a look at those now. When we're talking about testing, I think it's always really important to quantify what testing we're doing and kind of explain what the ideas behind it is. So all the testing I'm doing is done in squad challenge, so I can do repeat tests and not have to worry about people changing things because they don't want to be seen to lose or anything like that. The first testing I'm going to show you is squad testing. I'm going to do a control group, which will be my current squad, which is Hitman, Firestarter, Sanduke, Snowstorm, Firewall, Phantom, Peacekeeper, Intruder and Biotech, and that's going to be against a 34 million squad and a 37 million squad. 7 battles on each. I'm not going to show you all the battles. I think I show one, and then I just recorded all the stats in a spreadsheet. Got to love a spreadsheet. Then I'm going to take out Hitman and I'm going to put Caduceus in, and Caduceus will be without a field kit. It will be without a multi-purpose weapon. It's going to be without any prototypes. It's literally just the basic base items that came with the 6 out of 6 set. Then I'll talk a little bit about the results and what I think. Then a look at the individual testing, which is just going to be that same naked, if you like, Caduceus against itself in a mirror matchup, and we'll have a look at the results there. This video's been sped up a little bit, but you can see it's my basic squad. Hitman is in there, playing against a 34 million opponent, Secret Admirer. Nothing particularly special about the battle, only lasts for 14 seconds, 8 of my fighters are alive. In terms of the stats that I'm going to record after the battle, it's mainly just healing. The speed of the battle, how many are alive, and healing, because that's the only thing we really want to see from Caduceus. Okay, so the first round of battles I did was actually very, very easy. I won all of them with all my fighters still alive. So I did a second round of tests versus a 37 million opponent, which, as you can see in the video here, was a much, much tougher opponent, and we actually ended up losing the first battle. Great news, everybody, it is spreadsheet time. So here I have a list of the battles we've just looked at, so Secret Admirer and Guest from the Future. As I mentioned, with Secret Admirer we won all 7 battles, and we won them pretty fast and with all 8 units alive. Guest from the Future was a bit more tricky. The battles were significantly longer and we lost 3 of them, which is fine. So it gives us a good balance, good things to look at. So as I said, the only thing I've really noted here is the amount of healing and the percentage of healing done by each squad member. And here is just like a little summary of that. So one important thing to note is I have Selfless Faction, which gives 65% increase to healing. So generally speaking, Snowstorm and Firewall are my main healers, although as we can see, Sandduke has done a significant amount of healing as well. This little number here just to the side, this is the combined healing and percentage of healing by the 2 selfless fighters, because I wanted to see that in comparison to Caduceus. Being a little bit more specific, there is a healing per second column that I have here. We did a bit more healing in the second round of battles because they were longer and because more units died, so more healing was necessary. Firewall did the most healing across both sets of tests, did 29%, 1.7 million in the first group of battles, and 28%, 4.2 million in the second group of battles. If we now open up the second half of the table, you'll see the Caduceus battles. Immediately, to me anyway, it jumps out. Caduceus on average did 6.7 million healing. 53% of all the healing done in those first group of battles was Caduceus. In one battle, he even did 14 million healing, which is crazy. Okay, him alone in the first group of battles did as much as maybe 3 units combined. Okay, in the second round of battles, he did on average 7 million healing. So it's kind of a similar level, although I gotta say, in the second group of battles, he had 2 huge outputs. I assume that's down to, in most battles he probably died a bit quicker, and in those battles he stayed alive long enough to do those huge amounts of healing. So it's kind of, this is why I do seven battles. It gives you a good marker for outliers. One battle he did less than 1 million, 2 battles he did 15 and 20 million, so average kind of helps, but I think it's a little bit different there. But anyway, the point is, and you can see from these numbers, that the healing that Caduceus does is huge. Okay, imagine this guy with some good items, some prototypes, some chips, these sorts of things. It's going to be wild. Like for a very unspecialized, unspecific set of items, he is doing a huge amount of healing. The next test is Caduceus in a one-on-one mirror battle against itself, without a field kit or multi-purpose weapon or any officer abilities. On the right hand side of the screen, you'll see an image rolling up that's going to show all of the health increases that happen during the battle. The first one is just before 3 seconds and it gets a 15% increase. After 6 seconds, there is a 75% increase for the armor ability. After about 10 seconds, the health is up to nearly 3 million. Importantly, once you get to about 13 seconds, that's the 10 stacks of 15% increases, and then you'll start to see health coming off and coming back on again. But each time, the increase is going to be 15%, or once it reaches 1 million in actual health increase, that seems to be the maximum increase it can get. So after around 25 seconds or so, you'll see the health just fluctuating in between 9 million health and 11 million health. I just want to look at this again and highlight a couple of really interesting things. The first being that the first health increase happens kind of before the battle even starts. Like here it was only like a 90,000 health increase because the unit hasn't got that much starting health. Like 600,000 health is not that much. I think I've got chems that have got that much and they're covered in chips and stuff. So for an infantry unit, it's really, really low. The armor ability triggered very early. I don't know if it's possible that it can trigger before 6 seconds. There's usually an initial cooldown. I wasn't sure how the D stacking would work, if you like. So once you hit 10 stacks, 10 effects, then that health starts to come off. And what was so each time the health that went on is the same as the health that went off, which is why you get that continual increasing steps of health, because it's not as though 15% of the current health at the time comes away. It was that whatever came on came off again. So the armor went off around 16 seconds and then triggered again just over a second later. So it looks like you've got at most a 1 second cooldown on that armor effect as well, which is interesting to know. As mentioned, once the healing got to a million, once the health increase got to a million, that was as high as it would go. So what I think we can see by that is that sometimes, even though the health increases look quite small, 10%, 15%, things like that, it's better to have more of them because they will continue to stack up. I was really shocked to see it get to 11 million health. That, you know, I've put that on the thumbnail, but to actually see a unit that start with 600,000 health get all the way up to 11 million health was pretty crazy. Just one final note on this: the healing that we saw in the squad battles, that's based on 50% of the Caduceus's maximum health. So as that maximum health is increasing wildly, so is the healing to all units every second. So let's say once we get to the 10th stack, theoretically, if your Caduceus is still alive, you know, you could be doing as much as, say, 600,000 healing to all units every second. So that's really, really important. By 17 seconds, you could be doing 1 million healing every second to all of your units. Now, I haven't been able to test whether there's a maximum limit, like with the health increase, as to the healing. So these numbers are just theoretical, but I just wanted to put them out there to kind of illustrate what the potential is of this set. So final thoughts from me. You need to use your imagination here a bit. I just found some items that I thought would be particularly useful for Caduceus. The weapon, I haven't really found an axe that is particularly special in any way, so I think just the best axe you've got will be fine. I am of the opinion that I think the astronaut armor is probably going to be the best armor for it, because primarily it's got max health increase, stacks up to 5 times, and it only needs to take 97,000 damage for each one of those, and it's going to give you a free reanimation. So I think that is going to probably be better than the blow your speakers armor. The armor attachment increasing health for sure. This can go up to 55% depending on the quality of the roll. The bracelet, I think this could be quite interesting. The navigator bracelet. Once in a while, the owner of the bracelet takes 30,000 physical damage for 3 seconds. It's really, really small, especially for an infantry unit. Additionally, every second, their max health increases by 10% and their attack damage is increased by 10% for 3 seconds. After that, the effect lasts for 5 seconds. Then you've got the cooldown and then it will do it again, but it's just more increase the health. With the Ferro Rod prototype, with every attack, the fighter deals splash damage equal to 14% of his maximum health. So if you're getting that up to 11 million, right, you can be doing 1.4 million in splash damage, which is wild. But honestly, I don't think you're going to get the health that high, because you're either going to have won the battle easy or you're dead, right? To go that long, it's not going to happen. And takes damage equal to 5% of his own maximum health. That bit's a little bit of a concern for me, but you've got that healing. You've got the healing all the time as well. It's fine. This device is currently on my Hitman, but I would also use this. Every time any unit is killed, the device wearer has their max health increased by 20% and their damage enhanced by 25% for 7 seconds. That stacks up to 3 times. You can also use this prototype, but when health is critically low, trades health with the nearest enemy with the greatest amount of health. So that could give you that extra survivability just to make sure that it doesn't die, because you want this thing alive as long as possible. Just live. Doesn't need to be doing damage, just doesn't need to die. I would also be tempted to bring back the spare heart multi-purpose weapon. I don't think many people use this anymore. It's going to essentially guarantee that your guy does not die, right? And all it's going to cost you is, with the enhanced prototype, 27,000 of its maximum health, right? So it's not a lot. Debatable. Like, that's the kind of thing you'd want to test and just see how it does. But that, again, that would stop your guy from dying for sure. Those are just a few items that I think are pretty good. To summarize then, what we saw from the testing is that with this unit, if you give it max health increases, that health is going to skyrocket. And the healing that will come from that is also going to be incredibly high for all your units every second that this thing is alive. The major downside is that it is a tunnel set, so it's either going to be a 3-month plus grind and a lot of RNG, or you're going to have to pay for it, so most likely it's a pay-to-win set. I don't think it's a must-have because it is a tunnel set, so it's going to be hard to get, but if you have the opportunity to get it, definitely should. I think that the secondary benefits from it are that you're going to have much more flexibility in your squad because of Caduceus. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this interesting and insightful. If you have, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave any comments and questions you have. Let me know what else you want tested, because I might be able to get another test set. I can ask and they can say no. We'll see. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you again soon. Bye bye.